color of it. In any case, what I want to point out are these 5 mistakes, and I'm going to explain them and make it all make sense for you so you don't continuously make these same mistakes. What I want to start with is what spot can you actually rank for? You know, I consistently talk to law professionals, personal injury lawyers, chiropractors, dentists, you know, the Invisalign specialists. And something that they don't always understand fully is that having exact matches or targeting one keyword is not going to propel your business into success. Yes, you can run ads. Yes, you'll have maps, but one keyword, one page, an exact match, one page, a rank and rent. You know, this is some of the reasons why I dislike exact match and some of the reasons why I massively dislike rank and rent, because we're targeting one page, one idea, one concept in most cases, not in all. And one of the big ones that, you know, business owners that I speak to generally have failed to grasp or understand until we talk, of course, I always want to help them, is that the traffic that is there potentially will not be enough to sustain your business. Let me show you an example of exactly what I'm talking about here, okay? Let me share with you an example. Let's say that you are a dentist, all right? So let's do dentist in a relatively large city. How about Houston? Dentist Houston. And what I'm utilizing is keywords everywhere. This is going to pull Google's API data. It's very inexpensive. I don't have a link, but that's the tool I'm using for search data. You'll see a green bar underneath my search bar. This is super helpful. If you're a business owner, Keywords Everywhere gives you quick insights so you can see search volumes. All right. So what we're going to do is we're going to do dentist and we're going to look up Houston. Again, I have 5 mistakes I'm going to cover with you and the reasons how and how you can remedy them, because once you understand, you can fix. All right. So dentist Houston. And this is a talk that I have with almost every business owner. Once I make this make sense, they realize, oh, we need location pages. Oh, we need to target this. This is actually huge potential for the vast majority of customers. I don't even want to look this up because I think, for one, it's on global, right? But generally, SERPs have 1,000 to 1,200 visitors. So I'd like to be a little bit more realistic because that 14,000 is massive. This is a huge keyword. Let's still go with this, just to make it more fun. The potential here for all SERPs is 12,100 monthly visitors. Now, I want to bring you back to this graph. Again, this is right from Backlinko. He did a case study. You can read about it. He did 5 million websites. They tracked it. It was in combination with SEMrush, my good friends at SEMrush. But here's the breakdown of the percentages that generate the clicks. All right. So the first spot, if you were targeting dentist in Houston at 12,100, I want to point this out to you. All right. So let's just say it's 12,100 people. All right. Great. When we take a look at the average that clicks are going to be generated based on your position, number 1 gets 27% of the clicks. Number 2 is 15%. Number 3, 11. Number 4, 8%. And number 5, 6%. Right? So if you were to stay for the entire year, like, let's figure this out. If you stayed for the entire year, all right, or even a month, let's just do a month. And let's just say you got 27% to the website. So minus 27% would be 3,000 visitors. That's 3,267 visitors. Here, let's even bring this up. So if we wanted to rank for, this is just an example, remember, dentist, Houston, okay? There is 12,100 visitors that if you stayed in the top position, number 1, no other spot, number 1 for the whole year, more importantly, 1 month, you would get 12,100 potential viewers. Now, because we know that only 27% go to the actual first result, if you had it, you would get 3,267 at first spot. Okay, and that brings me into mistake number 2. This is the maximum potential that this one keyword could potentially bring to you. And this is a massive mistake, massive. 3,267. But let's keep going because it'll all make sense as we go here. Stick with me, please. So when we come down here, what are the total clicks that you could get? Again, let's be realistic. If there's top players or what we call authority websites, for instance, if you're working with a keyword in the dental space, Aspen might be taking over the space. They take up spot one. Why? Because Google's a product just like your service or your product that you're offering, and it's a tried and true solution. This may or may not be true, but in Google's eyes, this is an authority asset. It has a lot of referring domains. It gets a lot of traffic. They spend a lot of ads, right? That's a safe bet to show that at number one, that most people that click on that are going to be satisfied, right? So maybe the best we can get is 15%, but let's not look at those numbers. Let's look at the total clicks that we could get. Let's say that we did stay at spot one for an entire month and we got all 3,267 clicks. Awesome. This brings me to number three. On your website, how are you intaking your customers? Are you looking for phone calls or form fills? This is a mistake that I see all the time. And again, I'm going to get back to the math here and logic, but I'm going through the tips as well, right? It's a dual video, multiple ideas here. But number three is, how are you processing them? Is it form fills? Or is it phone numbers? Or is it a 50-50 split? You know, if you have a dominant type that you're intaking your customers with, why is this not above the fold or multiple times on the page? For instance, if phone calls are your main priority, there should be a button at the top, a button in the mobile dropdown, and there should be multiple selections on the homepage and internal pages in order to place a phone call, right? Our conversion rate drastically increases for the things that actually matter. And this brings us to the very next thing, which is, well, how many clients that after you intake them, right? Because if my potential for my website, back to the math, all right? If my potential is 3,267, when a customer comes to your site, how many of them take the action that you want them to? Either form fill or make that phone call, or maybe it's a 50-50 split. I would say that on average websites, it's going to be a 2 to 4% will actually become a prospect, right? You're going to get a lot of people that just bounce, a lot of people that come to the site, maybe they don't like your smile, who knows, right? But the whole percentage of people that come to the site aren't going to become a prospect, about 2 to 4%. So let's take this 3,267, right? 3,267. And let's say you hit it the top percent, 4%. Do what you ask. They make a phone call or they do a form fill, minus 4%. That's 130. So we're going to say 4%. Brings us to 130 prospects. Okay, 130 prospects. Then that leads me to the next thing, right? How many clients become an actual customer? So they make the call, they fill out the form about 2 to 4% of the time, right? How many of them actually become a client? On average, it's 1 to 2%, right? Let's just say that if they fill out your form or they were to make that phone call, let's say you close at 5%. Let's just say 5%, super high. We're doing really good. Like if I get them on the phone, 5%, no matter what, we're going to be able to help them out. All right. So let's just take a look at that. So if we take our 130, okay, and we were to minus 5% from that, let's start over, 130 minus 5 quick percent. That's 6.5. Let's just say that's 7 customers per month would actually, at the end of the day, let's just say it's 5% become customers, okay, out of prospects, all right? So that would mean that we get roughly, let's just say 7. Just to make things whole, right? 7 will actually become customers on a monthly recurring basis. So let's just say, for instance, I only go for that one. 7 times 12, right? Let's just say that's all you get is that 7 times 12 because there's 12 months in a year. But you probably, right? Let's just say, can you run? That's 84 total potential customers per year. And that's if you stay at position number 1 for the whole year. You have a potential chance to make 84 customers. And that's if you're at the top of your game. And this is looking at a really insane keyword. If we start looking at plumbing keywords, roofing keywords, or other keywords that only have 140, 100, 200, 300 visitors on a monthly basis, those numbers shrink, right? This is actually a huge amount of people looking for this, right? Like, could you run, maybe some people out there could run their business off of 84 total customers, but how many of these are just looking for their teeth cleaned, right? This is all hypothetical, but this is the question that I often have with business owners, because then it starts breaking down into, well, how much do we want to invest time, effort, and resource, and how long is it going to take to reach the finish line? And if we don't reach number 1, let's just think about this. Let's just say that we hit, the 3rd spot. What does that break down to? Just really quick here, right? Let's just say that we have our 12,000, right? Well, let's give the whole thing. Let's just say you hit position 3, right? Because position 1 and position 2 are dominated by authoritative websites. If I have 12,100 potential, and let's just say, for instance, that I only get the 3rd spot, so minus 9%, there's 1,000. And then my prospect rate, so we have 1,089. My prospect rate is 4%. Let's just say 5% because we're crazy and our close rate is crazy too. So 5%, right? Let's just say 1,089 minus 5% brings us to 54. So let's just say it's 55. So we have 55, and then that actually turns into customers at another 5% rate, but it's actually probably lower. So we have 55 people monthly minus that 5% because our close rate is crazy. That's only 3 customers. Can you run a business off of that? And then what if you hit position 4? What if you hit position 5? What if you fluctuate? What if you can't get in the top 3? Right? And this is why I massively, massively, massively dislike going for just 1 or a vanity term. Even the rank and rent, like, hey, we're going to get up a page, exact match, targeting a state or a city. Like, there's generally, depending on the business, just not enough there to make it worthwhile, or the cost to reach the finish line is too great and it's going to take too long. And this is why I always say that my terminology is, let's get more lures in the water. Let's start targeting multiple services and multiple locations, right? Let's have more opportunities to get this number up. Let's times this by 20 locations and 3 services, right? Or whatever the case may be. And then the last mistake that I see that I want to point out to you is helping your customers again. The hardest customer you're going to earn is going to be getting them initially in the door and acquainted to your services. I find this in my own business. The hardest sale is that first sale. Once they see the opportunity, once they see the quality of service, turnaround time, hey, we actually have live support, or whatever your case is, right? I can only speak from my own experience. It becomes a lot easier. Can't make everyone happy, but the people that are, you're able to offer them other services, right? And this is something where I always see a lot of business owners, they're good, they have a marketing machine, they have that, but then how are we able to go back and service them again, right? Email sequence, text sequence, maybe send them a letter, especially if you're doing low numbers. Right? Whatever the case may be, I just want to share these mistakes with you. All right. So just as a brief recap. All right. Number 1, I want to point out, what spot can you actually rank for? And be honest with yourself. Go out to the SERP. All right. Use keywords everywhere, or whatever tool that you want to use in order to evaluate not only the SERP, but also the search volume. Right? I need to see, hey, who's in position? What spots do I have? When I go to the page, is it like this? I have 2 guarantees and then a map pack. Is position 1 that valuable? Probably, here it is. But you need to evaluate that for yourself. So the first step, reiterating what we already talked about, what spot can you actually rank for? Let's be honest. What is the potential total clicks? Like, what's the math? How many clicks and what's your current conversion rate? Right? How many prospects do you generally get? How many of those prospects turn into customers? And then how can you optimize the page to maximize customers? And then the last thing is once you've earned a customer, how can I help them again? All right, and these are the mistakes that I consistently see.